Well, hello there, beautiful. It's Kylie Patchett here. Welcome to the Wild and Finally Pecking Free podcast. I deeply believe that the years during and beyond perimenopause are a rite of passage. All of a sudden, we find ourselves on the precipice of a life transition where our brain literally rewires and runs out of fucks to give. We find ourselves shifting identity, no longer caring what other people think, and being invited to expand into new ways of being. Here, we share the real and raw stories from women who've been through deep midlife metamorphosis, taken a leap of faith, or broken the ties that bind us in patterns of staying small, stuck, and like our needs just don't matter. This is the midlife medicine you didn't even know you needed. Stories full of joy, despair, freedom, courage, and deep self-honoring. I am so glad you found us. Welcome. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wild and Freaking Finally Free. I just got that back to front. Finally freaking free. I'm trying not to say a swear word, but of course, you know me, Jodie. I will be swearing eventually.
That's no problem. Me too,
I'm very happy to welcome the beautiful Jodie Preiss today, who's been a long-time friend. He's wearing the most spectacular rainbow creation. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you, Kylie. It is my absolute pleasure to be here because as we were talking about before, I always adore our conversations, and I think it's perfect that we get to record one of them.
I tell you what, it's like birds of a feather, isn't it? It's like women with big visions and questioning minds and delicious open hearts. And then, yes, you come together and have these spectacular conversations. I will get off recording this as every single time and be like, energy lit up like a Christmas tree. So thank you. We were just discussing off air. I prefer to allow our guests to introduce themselves because I'm finding that when we have these conversations, it's like the personal and the professional and all of that big vision stuff just rolls in together. So how would you like to introduce yourself to our beautiful audience?
Such an interesting question. One I ponder so often. I think if I look at the personal, then I am a mother and a daughter and a sister and an aunt.
Yes.
And all of those things are really, really important in my life. But I also am a woman who has, a passion inside that has taken some time to kind of just flow with and feel comfortable with, and I'm definitely still not there.
Yeah.
Big visions and big passions and just want to be the best person I can be in the world and show others that doing that is good for our world, because there's so much that's not good in our world. So just showing people that they can, stand up and be good and spread some love and kindness, and that it can actually make some change.
Oh, so beautiful.
And I'm not sure how that really looks still.
Do you know what? A couple of things are popping to my mind. So first of all, I have this key belief, and have had, I would say, my whole life, that when we give ourselves permission to trust the timing of our lives, the unfolding of our lives, and also pay attention to the things that we wish to heal, that we don't wish to recreate, that our healing helps heal the world. And when you're talking about that passion and just being kind and letting it ripple out, and I know rippling is one of your big things.
It's a big thing.
Big thing. That we literally do start healing this collective energy that we have on the planet. And the more that we do that, the less, the more we dilute all the other shit that's happening, let's face it.
Yeah. And I think it's so easy to get caught up in all of the other shit. And so one of the many things, but one of the things that's important to me is just kind of being conscious of where that other shit can start to take over and be like, no, I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to approach it this way instead with something different and put some different energy out. And oh my goodness, that challenges me enormously sometimes because it is really easy to get triggered. But I was on my walk this morning and one of the things, and I didn't say it when you asked me, but one of the things that I definitely kind of still am imagining stepping into being able to say is that I'm a ripple caster. So I'm kind of casting out those ripples of love or kindness or whatever, and just allowing it to settle with whoever comes across it.
Oh, that is delicious. I love ripple caster. There's a picture that's coming to my mind of I did an interview a little while ago with a friend of mine, Claire Burt, and we were talking about I believe that women, when they step into their purpose, contribute to this matrix of energy that, and when we don't step into our purpose, we leave a hole in that fabric. And that's when things get leaky and uncomfortable and all those things. And so to me, the ripple caster, I saw you like just popping a little love bomb here and letting the ripple flow out through the matrix of that energy. And that just feels, I've got that gorgeous body ripply energy. I love that because, we can choose. We were having a conversation before we started recording about, being the creator and the decider in our lives. And that's exactly what you're talking about is like, I could choose to do the thing, like to have the trigger and react negatively. But when I take a pause and I respond, then I'm in charge, then I'm creating, then I'm deciding what I'm going to contribute to the collective.
Exactly.
Which, is such divine energy. Why is the ripple so important to you? Because I know like we've known each other for a very long time, and this has always been this central thing that you want to do is create a change. Not even a change, to have people pay attention to the lens with which they're seeing the world. Why is it so important to you? Where does the desire come from?
I absolutely have no idea. It's just there.
You, isn't it?
I feel like it's kind of this little thread that I've been following for a long time, and for a really long time have been trying to force it, and have been trying to find a way for that to be a business and to bring me an income and all of those things, because it is when I'm doing stuff like that, when I'm leaving a post-it note for someone, which is, I've been doing it for a long time. When I leave a post-it note with a positive message for someone, I don't even care if I never find out who got it. I just get such a thrill in doing it.
Yes.
And or anything like that. And so for a really long time I've been trying to force that into a business, and literally in the last few weeks I'm just like, because I have, with COVID and especially being in Melbourne and completely locked down for most of the last 2 years, let alone all of the other stuff that we may or may not talk about, all the other stuff that had gone on for me the couple of years before. All of it I'd kind of stepped in and stepped back and stepped in and stepped back into doing this kind of stuff, and definitely took a big step back from it during COVID. And I'm only really just finding my way back to it. And this time looking at it as I'm just going to do this, and there's no expectation.
No attachment.
I've got ideas but I don't know, and it's kind of surrendering to it now for the first time. I think I've tried to in the past and always found myself trying to force something that wasn't there yet. And now I am absolutely very consciously surrendering to whatever comes my way. And I've been practicing that in other areas of my life, consciously and unconsciously, for a little while now. And so now I'm just allowing that to unfold even more.
Do you think that's Hey gorgeous, we interrupt this gold for a delicious invitation. If your whole body has been whispering more lately, more voice, more truth, more satisfaction, more clients of the soulmate variety, more cash, more you, then this invitation is for you. Potent, My sister mind is officially open. This is my high touch, holy fuck, I'm ready sister mind for rebels in good girl clothing who are done outsourcing their power and diluting their magic to fit into someone else's business formula. If you have been craving a space where your strategy, your voice, and your energy all get to be offered, honored, refined, and amplified, this is it. Inside of Potent, you will get my eyes on your business every single week, copy mentoring, and that is for brand copy and content storytelling that turns your truth into client catnip, energetic recalibration that helps you unhook old, learned limitation patterns, keeping you quiet, not being seen, not being heard, real-time, high-touch, one-on-one coaching that actually sees the bigness of your vision, and the kind of sisterhood that does not flinch when you show up in your full, messy, brilliant, phoenix rising from the ashes glory. This isn't surface level support. It's deep, potent, paradigm shifting work that changes who you are as a woman in business and a woman in life. We start in August. Early open access is open right now. For the month of June 2025, inside of this early access open doors period, you will receive juicy bonuses, extended payment plans, and access immediately to my entire library of storytelling gold. You'll find all the juicy details at kyliepaget.com/potent. And we fill spaces, and there's only 10 of them, and more than likely only 5 by the time you listen to this, because by that time I will have offered them to the existing cohort, the beautiful original OG circle. We do actually take applications on a first come, first served basis. So come and apply, and let's get back to the magic of the episode. What's the word that's coming to my mind is symptom, but it's not the right word. But anyway, we'll use that. Do you think that's a symptom of aging and understanding that the push is not where the magic happens? Like, if
I think there's part of that. And I think also every time I pushed, there were a few good things that came from it, but there was also some things where I was doing things that were making a difference to a lot of people, but there was no money in it. So everything that I was making from it was covering the cost of it.
Yes.
So, and there's 2 things that I think about. One is the event that I did that you spoke at.
Yes.
That people today still tell me about things that happened at that event and that lunch that we did, and particularly the tap on the shoulder thing,
yes,
with the whispers
yes,
of messages.
Absolutely.
And that event, so from that point of view, it was a great success, but it just covered costs, and that was with me having to really, really hustle a little bit and negotiate quite a lot with.
Yeah.
So it felt
heavy.
On one hand, amazing, and on the other hand, so heavy. And then I did the same thing the next time when I had Taryn Brumfitt speak from Body Image Movement, and it was just as she was filming her first documentary, and the lunch was amazing, but literally, again, I broke even, and that's it.
Yeah.
And I was raising money for my running, and so but the profit for that, everything else I was like so tight on.
Yeah.
And so it felt really heavy then. Yeah, that is the event that I started sharing Post-it notes.
Yes.
So something great came from it, and people, again, that is kind of where people then started talking to me and introducing me to other people as, this is the Post-it note person.
Yes.
And if I just share the story so everyone else
I was going to say,
can we
go backwards and share the story?
So I was at the time running for Can2, raising money for cancer research. And so I did this event where we had raffles and a silent auction, and all of that money was going to my fundraising. And the cost of the lunch, obviously, that was where I was like, if I can start seeing how this can just make a little bit of money, then that would be great. Broke even on that part of it, raised the funds I needed for my fundraising. But on literally a few days before the event, I was like, okay, I need something else that's just bringing, I knew Taran would be great, and she was, but just something else that would bring the experience to sort of round it all out. And found a video of a young girl in the US who was sharing Post-it notes on the lockers in her high school or in the bathrooms or whatever, that was about positive body image. And so I did the same. And so at the event, in the few days before, I just wrote out a whole heap of notes. And so some of them were left under a plate on the table or in the bathrooms, or just randomly. There were probably, 100 notes left throughout the venue. And so lots and lots of people talked about that. And Janine, who you had introduced me to, Janine Howard, she actually was the MC for that event. And she had one under her plate just by chance. I didn't know it was going to be Janine's plate, so she sort of then highlighted it to everybody. And so lots of people that's kind of where that all started. And I just got such a thrill out of people coming up and saying, I needed to see that message right then and there. So I started doing it just randomly. And I would go shopping and leave it, particularly that was often in a shopping centre. I would just leave them, on the back of a bathroom door or on a mirror or in a change room.
Yes, where all that shit self-talk.
Exactly. And so that's kind of where that happened. So again, another thing where it wasn't, I kind of was like, financially, this is really, really, really hard. Yes. But there was a little magic from it as well. So, and that's really when I then went back to work, and so was trying to create something and some ideas. And there was times when I was definitely trying to push it. And then 2018 happened. Yes. And I was at the point of really being able to and wanting to share a lot of stuff. And I had programs and all sorts that I was wanting to launch. And the shit show of 2018 happened for me. Which for 4 years on, and definitely still recovering from, and healing stuff and uncovering other stuff that I didn't know was there. So that was pretty intense then.
So without going into the detail of what you went through, so we're talking about an intense, unbelievable set of circumstances that you were faced with no choice, as life likes to do. What happened between, pre-2018 Jodie and how you see yourself now in terms of self-identity? What did that intense, and I'm going to say being pushed through the eye of a needle, that level of discomfort on every level, physical, emotional, spiritual, et cetera, what did that do for your self-identity, and also your level of self-trust is what I'm being called to ask.
So I think I didn't understand what it did to my self-identity really until quite recently. Yeah. So I'll come back to that one.
Yeah, absolutely.
In terms of self-trust, that taught me a lot. So, and I don't mind talking about the circumstances of it, because I think
go for it if you're willing. That's fine.
Both situations that happened are actually really, really important for people to
Yes.
understand.
Yeah.
So the first was in January of 2018. My brother suicided. And it was a complete shock. It was not as a result of a mental health situation that was obvious to any of us, not even his wife or his family. Really, I think probably in hindsight there were some things that we could see, but
not.
I kind of afterwards processed it all as there was a perfect storm of fuckery.
Yep.
Excuse my language.
Clusterfuckery.
It was an absolute clusterfuckery that resulted in him making that choice. He had made some really, really bad decisions before that about things that he was being part of. And then on the particular day that we found him on the 18th of January, but nobody had actually heard from him since the night before. So we don't know when it happened. Yeah. But there was literally a perfect storm situation on that day where stuff happened, and I really feel like he had absolutely no idea how to get himself out of it.
No.
And so that was how he chose to get himself out of it.
Yeah.
And so I was there when his body was found. Thankfully, I wasn't the one that found it, but his wife and I were both there when his body was found by someone else, thank God. So that was intense, because what then unraveled from all of that were all of the secrets and all of the things that he had been doing and hiding. So that was a pretty intense time, both in terms of losing him, but then also finding out all of this stuff about him that I had no idea of and could not even imagine that he would make such choices about how he was living his life. That was so foreign to me in who he was and who I had grown up alongside. So that was pretty full on. And then 6 weeks later, I think, maybe 8 weeks. 6 weeks later, I think, maybe 8 weeks later. I don't even know now. I was in the shower one morning and was just washing under my arms and felt a lump in the side of my left breast. And I was like, holy shit, really? This now too? And strangely enough, I kind of investigated and felt around a little bit and hopped out of the shower and dried myself off and had another good feel, and it kind of disappeared. But there was still enormous pain there, and I had pain in that breast for a good couple of days, but it was a Friday. It was a long weekend.
Of course
so
it was.
Made an appointment with my GP and saw her on the Tuesday, got an appointment on the Tuesday, and she sent me off for testing and, had a mammogram and an ultrasound, and they found something. I was referred to a breast surgeon, and initially it was deemed to be what they call it's kind of a stage 0. So it was precancerous cells called DCIS. But the recommendation was to take them out. And I was really, I look back at that and I'm like, I trusted my body, because by the time I went to the GP, there was no lump and there was no pain.
Wow.
And she said, well, we can choose to just leave this at the moment, or if you want, we can refer you to it. And I said, let's just get this checked out. So that's where the trust then started to happen, because the pain had gone and the lump had gone. And so had the mammogram and ultrasound, and that picked out this DCIS. And my breast surgeon said, I really want to get an understanding for how much tissue we're going to remove, because we want to remove it. So I'll send you for an MRI. And the MRI then detected in my other breast cancer that was much more serious, obviously. And by the time that all got tested, that was already in a lymph node and all of those things. So, but the mammogram and the ultrasound didn't pick that up because it was, I don't know if it was the location or it was small, but it was aggressive. So I kind of sat with that afterwards and was like, I just thank my body every day for telling me to get this investigated.
Yep.
Because I wouldn't have known what was in my right breast. That then led to double mastectomy in a short period of time. So kind of the process started in the middle of March. By the middle of May, I'd had a double mastectomy. I had a reconstruction with stomach tissue, which is a fairly intense surgery.
Operation?
It's called a deep flap.
Yep.
So I have a scar from one hip to the other, kind of like where a cesarean scar would be, but bigger. And they use that stomach tissue. So I, at the time joked about the fact that I had boobs that wouldn't really move that much anymore and a flat stomach, and would always have a flat stomach now. So, that was my take on it. They then found with further testing that it had gone to another lymph node as well. So I had to then have chemotherapy. So 2018 was January, suicide of my brother, March to May, kind of processing all of this, and then May through November, surgery, recovery, chemotherapy. And that was pretty full on, and I was, just in survival mode. Really.
You are not that you need our permission, because obviously not, but you are absolutely dead set okay to call that a clusterfuckery of a year.
Yeah.
That is all sorts of fucking trying, like I said, in every single level of your being. Because, and if we go back to your brother, it's like, did I even know who he was? And I would guess, layers of anger, betrayal, grief, sadness, and every other emotion in between. You're dealing with that, and then on top of that, okay, well, now we're going to have cancer. And thank God, again, just take a minute to say thank you for trusting your body. Because how many people have stories about breast cancer where they're like, if I had just gotten that first thing that I noticed investigated.
Exactly.
Maybe, you can't play that game anyway. It's a ridiculous game to play because we would never know.
But I think it's also, and it's not just related to breast cancer, I think also, and that's where the trust thing has really helped me in terms of knowing that I trusted my body then. So when it's telling me something else, then I'm going to trust it again. And the next time that I it was very difficult through treatment to, in some ways, have that trust, because you've got this poison going into your body and all of those things. But I got to because of my wound that had struggled to heal a little bit, they kind of flipped the chemo on me. And so instead of having the heavy dose chemo first, I had that at the end.
Right.
And so I'd gone through the lower dose, and that was manageable. It was weekly, but it was manageable. And I'd started losing hair, but not completely. And I had a couple of days of feeling crap each week, but then energy and was able to do stuff. And that was actually really, really good for my own mental health in working through that.
Yeah.
But then I had the heavy dose, and I got to the third one, and literally from the night of the first of the heavy dose, I had a headache. I had developed a headache, and it did not go then for about 3 months.
Oh my God.
And nothing would touch it, and I was like, okay, I just have to go with this. And I would have my doctor and my oncologist say, well, you've got some quite heavy pain relief available to you. Do you want to take it? I'm like, no, I don't. And part of that, I think there were two things with that. One, one of the things that came out about my brother was an addiction. So I'm like, I don't want to be going down that road right now. And the other thing was just kind of needing to not completely feel it, but just go with it almost of, okay, I can manage this at times. I can do the best I can. I don't want to be completely getting rid of this and not being able to feel what I'm actually going through, because I felt like I needed to do that. And I'm glad that I did, because then it got to the third treatment. And by that stage, I had also developed vertigo and tinnitus. So we had delayed my fourth treatment for a week because I literally couldn't move around without feeling like I was going to throw up, and not from treatment, because I hadn't actually thrown up during my treatment. It was literally the movement. And so we postponed that, and it got to the next time, and I spoke to my oncologist and I said, I have done now 11 rounds, whatever it was, of the first lot. I've done 3 of the next lot. What difference does this last one actually make? And he said, you've done the hard yards. And I said, I just can't do this anymore.
No.
And I felt like the tinnitus and vertigo was my body saying,
it's just like,
that's enough, it's time. And if I'd been taking the pain relief, and I hadn't actually connected that until literally talking about it now, I feel like if I'd been taking that heavier pain relief for my headache, that I wouldn't have listened to that.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the outcome would have, who knows, but it enabled me to start trusting again and listening to what my body was telling me, because I really felt like, because it wasn't, my oncologist kept saying, this is not a side effect that is known. He said, I've never had anybody else have this side effect.
Yeah.
And so when he started saying that to me, I'm like, this is my body telling me something and so that was time. Yeah.
Oh, there is so much depth of wisdom that I want to mine here. So the pain medication, and also what's popping up in my head from my personal experience, because, we always listen to someone's story and go, oh, what is here for me? Caffeine to me it's not the same, obviously not, but caffeine, painkillers, they disconnect us from what our body is trying to tell us.
Absolutely.
So every time I give up caffeine, which is an ongoing addiction for me that I am very aware that I need to let go of again, and I wish to forever, is that it allows us to push through when the animal of our body is asking to be honoured. And the fact that you were able to, in amongst all of this, like all the turbulence that you're experiencing, still anchor into, I still desire to be present to what my body is going through so that I can listen to her, is such a gift. Like what does that mean for you now? What does that change day to day that you maybe didn't listen to pre going through all that?
I'm definitely much more conscious of those little nudges.
Yes.
And right down to, obviously 4 years post all of that, they talk about chemo having an impact on you for kind of 5 years or so. So I definitely get really tired still. I have the added bonus, if you look at it that way, of it also forcing me into menopause.
Another clusterfuckery.
Yeah. So, there's some good in that too.
Absolutely.
But because for me it was then, I think I'd been in perimenopause for quite a few years beforehand. And I literally had, during my lower dose chemo, very, very long, very heavy period, and then nothing at all ever again. So it kind of forced it quite quickly.
It's like the exclamation mark.
Yeah. So there were some good things about that too. All of that other stuff. So, I still get tired, and that is a combination of not sleeping well, because of menopause.
Yep.
And the added thing of chemo. So I am far more conscious of being able to say no to things because my body needs to rest. I don't always listen as early as I should. But like as an example, I have spent a lot of this year, as you know, packing up my dad's house after having moved him into aged care. And I never imagined I was going to ever have to do that completely on my own. And obviously my husband and son, and I've got aunties and whatnot who've helped and cousins who've helped, but essentially on my own, I'm having to make the decisions about what to keep and what to throw and those kinds of things. And I got to the point in August where I need to have, because he's not nearby, he's a couple of hours away. So I was doing it bit by bit in between work and everything else. And I thought, I need a week. So I took some days off and went down and had 4 days there. And I had one auntie come and help me, and that was great. Don't sleep well when I'm down there for a whole variety of reasons. And then I got to the end of that 4 days and came back here, and I was in a good place. It's not completely done, but I realised I needed to just not touch that again, and I haven't been back yet. And there's stuff I need to finish off, but I got it to a good place to leave it, and I desperately needed to just be able to find myself again because I was being pulled in all directions. That probably took a month or two longer to recognise that than it should have. And it's now probably that I can say I so needed to have a break from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And be able to trust that a little bit more. So, you know, it's always a work in progress, and there are always times when I push through when I shouldn't. But it definitely has me more open to that and more able to say no. And I think the other thing that it definitely gave me is the ability to look at things in the world with a sense of joy and wonder that I probably didn't do anymore. One of the things that I have done a lot started really in 2019, because with everything that happened in 2018, the stuff around my brother got put in a box and put in the back of my mind because I couldn't deal with that while I was doing my other stuff. So 2019 was really my year of starting to unpack it all, and I was walking lots and just pondering, lots of meditation, some journaling, some writing. There is still a memoir that's in all of that I am slowly stepping back into writing. And again, that's one of the things that I'm not forcing. I was trying to force that for a while. Like, it's there, it will come. I've got to surrender to allowing it to come. And then obviously being in lockdown for so much of 2020 and 2021 here in Melbourne, which felt like forever, lots and lots of walking and just letting everything go with that and trusting that. And at the same time, just watching what is happening around and the change of seasons and the ripples in the water. Like, we now live down by the beach. We moved at the end of last year, and so watching the ripples in the water or the ripples in the sand, or watching the different flowers and the different stages that they're at, or watching the blossom trees or the autumn trees. So I am much more aware of that. And that probably really came to light for me when we were recently in the Northern Territory. And it was one of the favourite holidays that I've ever had. And literally, because I was much more capable of feeling the energy that's there. It's a magical place. And that sense of awe and wonder, particularly at the 2 sunrises that we got up very, very early for. And one of the mornings was, I think the temperature felt like minus 7 degrees, whatever, freezing. and standing in the dawn for that time. But, oh, my goodness, it was so beautiful. You know, we just live in the most amazing. We're so lucky, and we don't look after our world enough because it gives us so much magic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So being more aware of that and open to that is definitely something that's come from it all.
So it's no surprise to me then, circling back to what you were saying originally about, you know, the business idea and what you want to bring and trusting. So the things that you kept saying were trust and surrender. And it's like when you are so in tune with nature and the seasons and you see the cycles, there's a time for everything. There's a time for all of the leaves to be dropped, and there's a time for the spring buds to come, and there's a time for, you know, et cetera, et cetera. When we are so connected to that, there's no need to rush, because it's like, I was having this conversation with someone this morning, like my, you know, original training is biology. And I'm just like, we all forget that we are miraculous.
Absolutely.
Like all the little trillions and trillions of processes, all the chemicals, all the endocrine, like every single process that goes together to make us a human being is a miracle in itself.
Absolutely.
Like, absolutely stunning miracle. And yet we can get caught up worrying about all this surface shit that doesn't matter. And then when you have years like you've been describing to us, I guess it forces perspective, but it also almost gives you an eagle eye view, doesn't it? It's like,
it does.
This is that all of these things are going on for everybody in different ways and different forms. And yeah, the surrender, deep honoring, and the trust. That's just such a strong energy that I'm getting from you. I'm reminded of a conversation you and I reconnected at the beginning of this year, but also I absolutely loved following along to your Northern Territory journey on Instagram. I was like, oh my God, it just looks amazing. Yeah, so good. One of the things that we talked about when we reconnected was that you went through this like clusterfuckery times by infinity, let's say. No, not infinity, because that means it's continuing. Let's not do that to you. This deeply, deeply challenging period, plus COVID, all of those things. And one of the things that we talked about, because one of the things I really, really want to capture is this concept that we're not having midlife crises. We're having this invitation to answer the questions, who am I and what do I actually really want my life to feel like? What am I here for? Whatever the questions are. And it's not the same for everyone. One of the things we talked about, because I saw a photo of you and you had, this short, and you've got your short hair too, but this short hair and it's like spunky. And I'm like, that is a woman who gives no fucks. Like I was just like, the energy here is I know who I am and I am gloriously me and I don't need your approval. Can you talk about that story about going to the hairdresser? Because to me, that is, encapsulates so many different things. The Phoenix energy.
Yes. And I'll just preface this by saying this was the one and only visit to that hairdresser.
Yes, of course.
So when we moved literally across the city in Melbourne. And so I needed to find a new hairdresser.
Yes.
And I had the experience, obviously during COVID, of not being able to have my hair cut.
Yes.
And when your hair is very short, you need to kind of have it cut on a regular basis for it to keep looking fine. So it had grown and I hate it every time I looked in the mirror, because one of the things I did when my hair started growing back was made the decision to no longer dye it.
Yes.
And so you can see, there's the greys. And as it gets longer, for whatever, it's bizarre to actually see this happen, but I get more white grey rather than the silver grey.
Yeah.
And I much prefer the silver grey going on, obviously. But also I started to just not feel like myself as it grew longer. I didn't realise I'd never had it super short before. And I'd had a couple of experiences when I'd completely lost it, where I'd made a couple of conscious decisions to not wear a scarf anymore or a hat and go bald.
Yep.
and loved that and embraced that. So I really embraced the short.
Sorry, so bad at talking over people. What did you love about going bald? What is the...
I hated it initially, and it was really, really tough. But I'll share the story. It was at the end of all of my treatment. So I was feeling pretty crappy still. I'd made the decision to not have the last treatment. And I had my school 30-year reunion happening. And I had a completely bald head and got all dressed up to go out. I was wearing lots of big earrings, but it was probably the first time I'd put on a full face of makeup. You know, because I'd lost my eyebrows, I'd been putting eyebrows in and worn a little bit when I'd gone out, but I got a full face of makeup, you know, did a proper thing, and had picked out the scarf I was going to wear that night. And I bought beautiful scarves from a place called Bravery Co, where they're artistic and they're big, and so I used to tie them how she'd kind of tie them, and I'd have either a big knot here or not. So they were more modern and not that frumpy kind of look. And so I'd purposely gone down that path the whole way through anyway, with bright colours. And that night got dressed and went to put the scarf on, and I'm like, now I look like I didn't feel like a cancer patient bald and with my face done up and big earrings, but I put the scarf on and I'm like, I feel like a cancer patient now, and I don't want to feel that way anymore. And I know, I'm quite sure it was very confronting for some of the people who I hadn't seen for a very long time to see me. And I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah, exactly.
This is how I actually feel really, really comfortable tonight. And so that was the first time I went kind of out in public without it. And I never wore a scarf again after that, as my hair was growing back. And so I had a couple of times where I would go. There was one time in particular I remember we were doing a Christmas shopping, and we were at a shopping centre, and I said to David, I'm really tired, I just need to sit down. And so I sat down in an area where there were lots of other people, and he went off and did something, and this woman came up to me and she said, you look amazing. And I kind of looked at her and she said, I know you're really tired right now because I've been there, but I just want to tell you, you are beautiful. Yeah, it's making me teary because I haven't thought about it for a while. And then the next week I had an oncologist appointment, and as I came out, there was someone else who'd been in there as well, who her hair was obviously quite a year or two maybe post. And she said to me, I wish so much I had been as brave as you, because she said I always covered it and I never felt like myself, and I see you and you look strong and brave. And I didn't feel either of those things particularly, but so that was probably those two conversations that then made me look at it and say, okay, I am always going to look in the mirror and want to feel brave and strong and like myself and not hiding anything. Yeah. Because I feel like the scarf was important for a while, or hats or whatever, but it got to the point where I felt like I was hiding myself when I had any of that on. So then fast forward to this year, when my hair had gotten long in, kind of 4 months of not being able to have it cut during 2018 and 2019, and I'd gone long and short, and then it grown again, and came to this new hairdresser, and it was short, but it had grown quite a bit. And I said to her, I want to go back to this, and showed her the photo, the favourite photo that I have, which is very similar to how it is now, of this is when I felt really, really good. And I want it like this. And she said, I hate that on you. I can't do that. And so she cut it differently, and I hated I'm like, I'm here now. Okay. I said, I'll give it a go. But I walked, and she said afterwards, and I said, no, I don't like this. I really would like it shorter. She said, I can't do that for you now. So I, needless to say, didn't go back there and found another hairdresser who would very happily cut it the way that I wanted to. And I feel much more like myself now, like it is. But that was a really interesting, when probably for the first time for a while, I had someone trying to force me back into this societal convention of women have longer hair, because she also had started talking to me about next time maybe I would want to consider some colour. And I said, no, I don't ever want to go down that path again. I am now very natural in the way that I live and what I do with my body and my face and my hair.
Yes.
But also when you have quite a lot of grey and you've got dark hair, colouring your hair is a very, very constant thing to have to do. And before, my mum went grey very early, so I've had a lot of grey for a long time. So I was colouring my hair every 4 or 5 weeks, and I didn't want to get back onto that bandwagon either. And so it was like, no, you're not for me, love.
No. So I mean, I know this story, and I'm still gobsmacked that is someone's reaction, because I'm like, I'm sorry, why do you get to define what I look like, and why does it actually matter so much to you? Why is that so offensive to your sensibilities, for want of a better way of saying it? And I remember you saying about the color thing, and when you shared that photo with me, and I'm like, I look at that and I'm like, that is a phoenix rising, like 0 fucks to give. And I'm like, when you were talking before about being brave and strong, like when you're saying, you know, put the scarf on, I didn't feel like myself, I wrote down reclamation. It's like, no, I get to decide. And that just gives me goosebumps, because women in their power, making decisions from that space, such a magic, magnetic, powerful force, and it invites everyone else to challenge. You know, it's only when we follow the expected and we don't see other people, you know, if we're not brave enough to take the step ourselves yet, seeing other people take it before us, it's like, she looks amazing, she's done it, she's decided. And really, like, I've had not the same sort of experience, but I did have a moment the other day where I bought a dress for a photo shoot, and I put it on, and I was like, I love this dress. And I had this moment of looking in the mirror, and I was like, I actually don't feel like, for the first time in my life, that it's my job to look good in this dress. And I was like, well, holy fuck. Like that, you know, and it's not where I live 100% of the time, but, you know, definitely work in progress. But I'm like, oh my God, I no longer think it is my job to look a particular way, similar to, what's it to you if I have my hair short and grey? If it makes me feel like me, who cares? Oh, freedom. I tell you what, freedom.
It's interesting though, because talking about that story now and kind of the other things that led up to all of that too, and going back to your question before about self-identity, I think that conversation with that hairdresser has also then sent me this year. So I like, there was a reason for it. It's kind of that surrendering and trusting. There was a reason I had that conversation, because what that opened for me has not been easy. But the whole thing about what is a woman and what is a feminine presence, because for me, I now wear my hair short. I have stomach fat. I mean, to put it bluntly, stomach fat on my boobs. I've lost my breast tissue. I got thrown into menopause. So many of the things that society see as being feminine and being a woman, I got kind of wrenched away from me. through no choice of my own. I can choose how to step into it now. So that conversation with her has definitely led me down that path of exploring all of that. And that's definitely a work in progress that I'm still really struggling with, I think, in so many ways, as a process of understanding and accepting and acknowledging what I went through, but also as a 51-year-old woman now trying to just find where I fit in the world, or where I want to fit, or how I want to show up. So that's been an interesting process and is definitely still happening. It's something I still struggle with sometimes, of that sense that I lost a lot of the feminine essence, even though I know it's still there, that outwardly feminine being that people will look at me and they wouldn't know, but I know.
Yeah. Oh, so interesting, isn't it? Because identity is such definitely honoring what you're saying. The conversation has led you to have other conversations with yourself. And something that I always, if I am triggered by something like that, I'm like, oh, thank you for showing me where the edge is. Thank you for showing me where healing is being invited. Thank you for showing me where there's questioning of myself to do. Which is a very different energy to what I would have done, in my 20s. If someone triggers me, I'm like, screw you, I was very like over assertive, or no, not even over assertive, on the edge of aggressive if someone was sort of triggering me. And now I'm like, oh, there's something to sink into here.
Exactly.
I'm being invited to explore. And I think honoring too these years that we're in, like whenever the transition happens for you, and also honoring definitely everyone that goes through medical or surgical menopause, or both, God forbid, this natural period of like 5 to 11 years, gets jammed on you in the space of potentially months. So obviously it's like an accordion effect, everything's exacerbated, everything is whatever. I think that it is the equivalent to being in the cocoon, and we're in the messy genetic soup stage. It's like, who are we going to be? But the gift obviously is we do get to choose, and we do get to ask the questions. And to me, that's the exciting thing about it. It's like, yes, it's messy, it's uncomfortable, it's discombobulating. I don't know who I am anymore. And, you said before coming home to yourself, and it's like, and sometimes when we try to come home to ourselves, it's like we don't live where we used to. So where even is?
And I think it's also the understanding that coming home to yourself is actually almost a fallacy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if you are truly living and truly growing and stretching, then home is kind of on a continuum. And you don't come home, you just are home.
Exactly.
And it's that understanding of that. And part of that is that learning, for me anyway, is that learning to surrender. And a lot of that has come. I had a friend probably 5 or 6 years ago recommend that I read The Untethered Soul, Michael Singer.
Yes.
And I tried. And I just couldn't do it. It was too heavy and too out there and all of those things. And a few weeks ago, a friend of mine said, oh, have you read it? And I said, no, and explained why. And she said, you need to read The Surrender Experiment. And I said, okay, tell me. And she explained what it was. And so I straight away I got it on Audible and have listened to it. And that was exactly the way I needed to listen to it.
Yes.
And for anyone who doesn't know, the surrender experience is basically the story of how he got to the untethered soul. And I needed to, it's that realization for me that I learn best in a really practical sense. And so reading highbrow, full-on, over the top, not over the top, but out there concepts, I need to actually be able to embody it and feel it. And so reading The Surrender Experience, I now understand the untethered soul. And I'm not there to read it yet, one day. but that has been a great lesson for me, just in understanding and following that little thread. And I'm definitely doing that much more too, of just, this has happened. Okay, yeah, let's just go with it. Whereas instead of, a decision is presented or something comes up and instead of analysing it, it's like, yeah, let's just go with that.
Yeah.
Sure, let's try.
Yes. Just say yes.
Yeah. So that's been really interesting to see. And again, part of, that came to me, was introduced to me at the right time.
Yes.
To now be open to it all as well.
This is one of the big things that I'm settling into, the concept of trusting the timing.
Yeah.
And I was reflecting to someone I'm working with this morning that my business, my first iteration of business years ago, like in 2012, whatever year that was, it was very cerebral and it was very about what I need to do. And it was all like, I have a business plan and I have a strategy and I need to do X, Y, Z. And it was very, very, very head-based. And that's the way that I approach things then. This time feels very different because I literally this morning I was like, this is my first official non-employed day. So I'm like, what deliciousness do I have in store? And I saw that we had our interview and I was like, perfect, because to me, the most important thing at the moment is to follow where my energy and my joy is, and having these conversations and being able to share them is something that is deeply nourishing for me. And I know that these stories, like someone will listen to this, God knows when, and they need exactly the message that you're sharing. And I'm just like, that is magic to me. That's like the magnetism of just doing, the joy. And it's been very interesting watching my cerebral self from years ago stepping into, so what's the plan for tomorrow? And for me to be going, remember, we're trusting the timing.
Yeah.
Remember that one of your new versions of how to do business is that I'm a magnetic match for what is meant for me. So I don't have to do or plan or strategize. I just be.
Yeah.
And I'm like, foreign concept, completely discombobulates me, but in the best possible way, like a genetic soup all over the place. And I am just deeply honored that you could be here sharing this. Thank you so much. I knew this was going to be a divine conversation. I did not expect that much gold to come out of your mouth in one sitting. I thought we'd have to do this.
I didn't think that there was that much there either. But I always love, like, you help to bring that out in me. I love our conversations because you ask the questions that make me dive deep, that kind of trigger things or whatever.
Thank you.
I always love it.
I just feel so blessed to be in this stage of my life, walking alongside other people like you in their 40s and 50s, like really, really asking important questions so that our world becomes a better freaking place.
Yeah.
Day to day. And we show our kids and our husbands and our friends and our, if we're in corporate, even I know, I actually have my farewell card from my work. So I left on Thursday last week. We're recording this. I don't even know what day it is. Is it Tuesday?
It's Tuesday.
I don't even know what day it is, Jodie. How exciting. And I took a moment last night because they bought a card and then people were writing too many things. So they had to stick extra bits in. And the things that are said, and, this is definitely external validation, but the things that were said again and again and again was, thank you for bringing the joy to our workplace. And I was like, oh, my God, even when I felt like I was in a completely wrong environment, it was still my energy that was contributing. It wasn't my brain. It wasn't my organization skills. Definitely not my organizational skills. But, it wasn't the things that I have been taught to value or have brought into the story of valuing in the corporate. And it's just like, it doesn't matter what it doesn't matter what environment we're in, it's still our energy that makes the difference. And that is so lovely to know and deeply feel, isn't it?
It is. It is. And it doesn't surprise me at all that they had seen that in you, because it is what you do. And what a beautiful lesson from everybody as you left, that's what you bring to the world.
Yeah, it was really, Yeah, it was really lovely because the thing that I'm trying on for size is my joy is the only thing that I need to worry about. And I'm like, oh my God, if you didn't need a bigger confirmational tick from the universe, it's like even in an environment that I hated, that was still
exactly.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. I'm going to really be hard pressed to pick my favorite bits to snip to have as our quote because I've written like pages and pages of notes. Thank you for your generosity in sharing your story, and thank you for being willing to go down the track of, the valley of 2018 with us, because I know, particularly for people that are in a similar circumstance or worried that they can get through something difficult, hearing the gifts that you've learned from that as a result. And we're only, 4 years out. There's going to be more gold that comes from that. Is such a blessing. So thank you, beautiful Jodie Preiss, with your beautiful rainbow jumper.
Thank you for allowing me to share it and giving me the opportunity to share it, because it's something I've pulled back from in the last few years. I had been sharing it again and again. For me, this is just that moment of surrender, of following the threads. And when you asked me to be part of this, I was like, it's time to start sharing it again, knowing that it can help someone, and helping one person is an absolute gift. Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is the whole thing. My tagline that I keep coming up with this podcast is the medicine we didn't know we needed. Yeah. So I'm like, this midlife, we need to share it. Thank you so much. We are going to stop recording and we'll probably chat for another half an hour, but thank you everyone for tuning in. Bye-bye. Hello, beautiful. It's Kylie here. Thank you so much for listening into another cracker episode of the Wild and Finally Fucking Free podcast. I've got some very exciting news for you. I have decided that I want to play in real life, real time, instead of just recording these episodes. So I'm actually going to start running regular Midlife Magic masterclasses. And our very first one is all about coming home. It's 7 p.m. Brisbane time, 15th, 16th and 17th across 3 days in November. And the key to what I'm going to be covering and helping you to understand and harness for yourself is all of the threads that we've been talking about in these real and raw stories. So if you listen into these stories, there's so many common themes. Things like learning to heal self-abandonment, trauma, codependency, leaky freaking boundaries. That's a big one. Learning to dissolve fear stories, self-doubt, the feeling of not being ready or not being good enough. Making other people's needs more important than our own. Hands up, who does that? My hands are in the air. And the other thing I've been noticing is there's a real common thread of women who've been brought to their knees through whatever has happened in their life, having to actually turn inwards and learn how to nourish themselves. So be devoted to her own needs, connect with our heart more, using our mind and our body and our breath to self-soothe ourselves. Ultimately, every single one of these stories is about coming home, home to our magic, home to our power, home to our magnificence, home to our dreams and freaking desires. So in the middle of a very stormy night, a couple of nights ago, an idea popped into my head and I was like, I'm going to run a masterclass, because listening to these stories is inspiring and it's amazing and we learn so much, but let's start putting it into action. Hey, let's get real with ourselves about what we can do day to day to create our version of rewilding, reparenting ourselves and learning to take care of our needs by coming home again and again and again. So the first 33 seats in this masterclass room are totally free. After that, I will be charging $33 a seat. I'm really, really excited about getting to actually interact with you guys live. I'm really deeply, deeply wanting to help you guys to put into action all of the things, all the gold, all the joy, all the aha moments that our guests have gone through, because
Waiting for some shitstorm to happen in our lives to invite us to expand is one way of doing things. But you know what? We've got the power to be the creator and the decider right freaking now. So if you are stuck in a pattern of a life that does not fit you, if you're not taking care of your own needs, if you're turning outside of yourself to look for approval, for love, for support, and not giving it to yourself, please register, come, learn, laugh. We might even do some crying. The links are in my profiles on Facebook and Instagram and in the show notes here. And I would absolutely love to have you join me for the Coming Home Masterclass 15th, 16th and 17th of November. See you there.